And good morning. Time now for Around the County here on WBRT Radio. Heard each Tuesday at 11 o'clock on WBRT. Brought to you by and made possible by Bardstown Mills and Area 1 Realty. And the show is on Facebook Live, and that means that if you missed today's show, well, you would be able to watch it again later on. If you missed today's show, you wouldn't hear that message, but pass it along for those who might have. And in with us for, of course, the show is Judge Executive Tim Hutchins.
Yeah.
We're on a turned out sunny Tuesday morning, as I said. I hadn't had a chance to step outside yet.
Well, I stepped out there a while ago, so good morning, Roth. Yeah, it's the first time we've had any. It's going to warm up today, it said. I think there's a chance of rain, but a little bit warm. This whole last, 9-10 days, cold weather's been hanging around. A little bit early, I think, for this time, usually the season. But anyway, 348-2222, 348-2222. You can call or text here, and then my number is 502-249-0816, 249-0816. You can text me. And we want to thank Bardstown Mills and Area 1 Realty.
We'll hear from them in just a second.
One thing I want to say is Feeding America has moved till December the 17th.
Okay.
Whatever.
That's next Wednesday.
Is it next Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, time's flying by. It'll be 26 here pretty quick. So everybody know December 17th, they had to move it around because of the holidays and stuff. Okay. So
still at the fairgrounds, and everything's still the same, just...
everything's still the same. Yep. I don't know what crew we got working out there, but anyway, we've got a lot of good help out there. For a lot of people's, a lot of good volunteers every week, and it's turned out pretty good.
Yeah. Very important, all the time, but certainly during the holiday season, and for people to make sure they have opportunity to have some food.
Yeah, I had some notes here and I left them on my desk, but we talked about those Christmas parades the last few weeks, and we had them. All of them turned out really good. I attended Bardstown's and then New Haven and Bloomfield, and they were all huge. I think maybe New Haven might be the biggest one they've had for several years, and a lot of people and a lot of floats and a lot of kids would get excited about it, so it turned out really good. All three of them turned out really good. It wasn't that, people talking about being cold, but riding in the back of my truck, but it wasn't that bad. Last year was a lot colder. Bardstown was a lot colder last year.
It was somewhere around 10 plus degrees colder.
Yeah. So it turned out really good, and then Boston is having theirs, I don't know, I've got to look it up and I'll tell you here in a minute, but it's this weekend.
Well, Judge, the parades don't just happen, and the efforts by government entities such as Public Works for both the city and county make it all possible, and then law enforcement makes it safe. We talked just earlier this week and yesterday, and now again today, we have a little news story of Christmas parades in Kentucky that had little incidents and tragedy.
Really?
Both of them were involved in somebody under the influence behind the wheel. And the good news is nobody's hurt, and that the bad people will be punished.
Yeah, I really haven't had time to listen to the news, but I didn't see that. But
get your attention.
Yeah. When you look at in the city of Bardstown, and more events happen, I would say, when you talk about countywide, it's just because that's the bigger city in a county, and Main Street, which is part of that, and they have a lot of events throughout the year, which is good for the community and the families and people that's traveling. And so in the city of Bardstown, they're, the mayor and the city council and their leadership, and of course the police, all the emergency service, you can go on EMS, firefighters, and it takes a lot with all these events, and they do it. I think and thank goodness the city council and Mayor Heaton give the opportunity, because it's really, I mean, it's nothing's free. It costs when you start providing this stuff and all the stuff you have to do for safety, like you said earlier. And then you get in the county support, and then what we do, we get the ambulances, and of course our fire departments and sheriff departments, and because you got the city, what do you call it, the maintenance crews, or and their departments in the counties, and more so when the city have their events. But we've really worked with these groups. And
brought in the bleachers again this year.
The bleachers, and just all the stop signs and all the what do you call the roadblocks things, and it just takes a lot. So stuff just don't happen. That's what I try to tell everybody. And you got all the volunteers on top of that, and all these different groups with, you say, Main Street Tourism and the Chamber of Commerce, and they work hand in hand anyway. I always say the three amigos, I always say downstairs, because they're at the bottom floor of the courthouse when we do get it back. But it's been really good. They do a lot of good things together, and then the Kiwanis, which is a sponsor, which you're part of, and then Wilma Sorrell, which is the chairperson of the Bardstown Parade, Christmas Parade, and her efforts and her committee and team. I mean, just light up Bardstown and all that group. And when I was up here with Randy, and then again her team, I don't hate to leave anybody out. I can't hardly name them all, but I tell you what, there's a lot of volunteers to do this stuff. And it's really neat when you get involved and see it. And but then you go to the other towns, New Haven, Bloomfield. Bloomfield had a I don't know what you would call it, kid zone type thing throughout the day. A lot of events throughout the day on Saturday before their parade. And I don't know if you've been over to their park since they've upgraded it. They had a ribbon cutting over a couple of months ago. The county helped them offset some of the financial money with the new playground equipment at Bloomfield. They got a really nice big set in their park over there. Is really, really neat, and they've done a really good job. So they had a lot of events over there, ice skating and all that this last Saturday, and all kinds of events downtown, and it was really, really, really nice. And then New Haven, they had the parade, but when they have their events throughout the time, there's just a lot of stuff going on. And I hear people say there's not enough things for people to do, but all you got to do is pick it up. And then you had Old Tucky Home with the Tourism Commission, the park this Saturday and Sunday on top of that. And we worked with emergency services, and had the fire trucks and the kids, and I forgot how many they had out there on Saturday. It says thousands. And I went out Sunday. I didn't make it Saturday, and walked through and talked to a lot of people. That's another really, really nice event. I mean, that was really sharp. I liked kind of like the Bloomfield. It was really pretty neat.
Yeah.
A lot of activities for the families and things. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot more. I mean, people just have to listen and keep up with it. Most of it is, not very costly either. Right. I think the one that the tourism had at Old Tucky Home, I think they charged $10, and all that money goes to like the Shop of the Cop kids, or Coats, or whatever, one of those organizations. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody, all the different groups and leadership and everybody around, because it's really important for the community. And when you become judge and you see it hand to hand every day, and I mean, it's just it's pretty amazing to see how everybody works together and gets things done. So we'll be proud of that in our community. So December 13th, Boston Christmas Parade. I don't want to leave them out. Of course, it's smaller, but it's a nice little event, and we go to that every year too. So I might fill up with gas, I guess, because I've been doing a lot of driving here lately. Matter of fact, jokingly, I almost ran out, and I went from Bloomfield to Bardstown to New Haven, when was it, Saturday or Sunday? And I dang on looked down, and ding, ding, ding. I said, uh-oh. I said, boy, that'd be awful, wouldn't it? So everything's going pretty good, really. I think, I hope everybody a good, I'm telling now, wish everybody some good holidays and Merry Christmas, and hope everybody always look out for your neighbors and friends and be there for your family, and just open your heart up and try to have some good happy holidays. So
Indeed.
At 12 or 11:30, we got about another 15 minutes. Brad Metcalfe, my EMA director, is coming in at 11:30, and we're going to talk about some of the emergency things and cold weather issues for the winter. And
the visitor center, the old courthouse, there's been a lot of activity going on. It looks like got to be making progress, because there's contractors of all different descriptions.
Yeah, they really move. And I was in there yesterday, I think it was, and it's getting closer. And then the upstairs, top floor is probably could be done here within a couple of weeks. And then we could move in the upstairs if we want to in a couple of weeks probably, but I'm just going to wait to see how long the bottom floor gets, because you have to walk through and get back to the elevator and the steps to get upstairs. I don't know. We'll see how, but it's moving pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd like to move all in there at one time, really, but we'll kind of see how it goes. But I think they've made a lot of good progress here, starting to button up. So we've had to do some change orders. I think I told you that last week. The court approved, and there might be a few little small ones coming up now, but it's getting pretty good shape. Pretty good shape. What about our sponsors? You want to hear them?
Yeah, let's hear from them. They are Bardstown Mills and Area 1 Realty. We'll be back with more around the county in a moment.
As the weather turns cooler, it's time to get ready for winter. Bardstown Mills is ready to help. The shelves are full of muck, rocky, and lacrosse boots to keep your feet warm and dry. If you have never worn alpaca socks, this is your wake-up call to try them. Alpaca socks keep your feet at the perfect temperature, no matter what the weather is outside. With Christmas just around the corner, Bardstown Mills has unique farm toys that are tough and kids love. Pets are not left out either, with aisles of toys and treats for your fur babes. Come on down to Bardstown Mills and let us help you get winter and holiday ready.
For Area 1 Realty, here's Mike Ballard.
Thinking about buying or selling a home? Trust the real estate team that Nelson County has voted best of the best year after year. At Area 1 Realty, we're proud to be your local trusted partners in real estate. With deep roots in Bardstown community and decades of combined experience, our agents know how to get results. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell, we're here to listen, guide, and help you make the right move every step of the way. Stop by and see us at 106 North 4th Street in Bardstown, right in the heart of downtown. Or give us a call to get started, 502-349-9363. When you work with Area 1 Realty, you're not just working with professionals. You're working with neighbors who care. Area 1 Realty, where home begins.
We are back on Around the County with Nelson County Judge Executive Tim Hutchins, heard each Tuesday here on WBRT and available to watch live on Facebook or later on Facebook through WBRT. And here we go. Back to action. Brad Metcalfe will be coming in if everything works in the next 15 minutes or so. But before then, Judge, the Louisville Water Company is being part of this big project to bring lots of water for all of Nelson County, in essence. I don't think all of them are interlinked, but still, it's...
Well, this big line that's coming in from Louisville Water, and again, I've said it before, I give credit to my predecessors, Dean Watts, in a previous court, and Mayor Heaton in the City Council, North Nelson Water District, Louisville Water District, and Senator Higdon at that time, because we had some ARPA money coming through, and they worked out a good package, and I said it multiple times, I think it's probably the most important project that's ever happened in Nelson County history, period, when you can get this water coming in. I think it ended up being like a 24-inch main, and it's potable water. You don't have to run it through the water plant and all that. Now,
ready to go.
That's right. I mean, it's just a big deal. So there's a lot of projects going on with, Hardin County, and of course with the low water spreading their access out all throughout the state, different areas. But that project, it's been, they hit. You can tell when they go through where they had a lot of course, all the early rains we had during the year. I mean, they've had it's been tough on them, and the contractors, and hit a lot of rock in some areas, but you see as they're coming up through past 509 and they'll be tying in, it's not too far out. I don't think that project will be completed, I'd say by sometime this spring, and I don't know about the details when they turn on the valves, and the city of Bardstown and North Nelson's got those agreements worked out, and where they got to take so many million gallons a day and so on. But, without that, I mean, you can expand and do so many things, but that really opens up a lot more opportunities. And
which leads me to this. I don't know whether it has any connection with the water coming in, but rumors there may be some industrial activity soon, or coming. Are those rumors, or are we are we talking to people?
Well, there's
or people talking to us.
There's when you sign these non-disclosure agreements and things, you got to be real careful what you say. But I will say this, that since I've become judge, I've been very aggressive working with the BIDC and trying to locate land for a new industrial park. And the park that we've got out there now is,
You're talking on Parkway Drive.
Parkway Drive. We've cleared the 2 sites that were available, and I've got contracts on those 2 sites. There is another tract that's like 6 acres, and there's another tract that's more on the Woodlawn Road end. It's got about, I don't know, it's probably 12, 15 acres, and about 6 of it's usable. So the bigger tract behind Flowers Food is, again, we've got some NDAs. I can't say too much, but those 2 tracts are pretty well tied down. Working on these other 2 kind of as we speak. And then as far as industrial land, we're working hard and have got our eyeballs on some land, and without saying probably any more, but we've got a pretty good opportunity to get a project for help the future of this county for many, many years if we get this deal done. And then part of that is we have already met with the state, the mayor, Heaton, myself, and our economic director, Kim Houston, has been to Frankfurt, I don't know, a couple times, and met with some of the people there and trying to secure some infrastructure money, or just a lot of pieces puzzle you got to get together. And then Senate leadership had their caucus out here in Bardstown last week, the retreat, and they give us the opportunity to come out and speak. They had a big reception that night, and there's a lot of people there intermingling with the leadership, and we went out and met with them and trying to secure some more financing for a possible site. It takes a lot of money. It's millions of dollars to build the infrastructure. So since you asked me that, that's pretty much all I can say. But the future looks good for this community, and we've got a lot of good things coming down the pipeline. And without the infrastructure and everything, like I said before, you got to have all that. So there's a lot of good things happening.
Judge, we have somebody on the telephone with comments or questions, and let's see if I can engage all of the buttons in the correct order. Good morning, caller. Are you on the air?
Yes, sir. I want to see if you ever found out how many dogs you're allowed to have on your property.
Did you call my office about that?
Yeah, and they just told me I had to call the dog warden, but...
Yeah, I don't have that ordinance in front of me. I remember there was a couple of people that called recently. How many? There is a limit. Now, I couldn't tell you right here live, but if you can write, you can text my number 2490816, and I'll get somebody to get back with you as soon as I get off here.
Text his number
2490816, and then I'll have somebody get back with you.
Well, here's the deal. The dog warden did come out this morning because my daughter was outside, and these 2 German Shepherds chased her in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So the dog warden come. They was out in the road when I come home. He come, and we caught 2 of them. And one of them like to ate him up. It was so mean. But then we leave, and there's 2 more out running around of this neighbor. He has like 7 in the barn. I don't know how many out in the yard running around.
Are they staying on his property?
No, sometimes.
Right.
Now, the female dog does. He's got a shock collar around her, so she pretty much stays there. But every time, he breeds 1 litter after another. He uses it one after another. He won't get her spaded. And we got a big white dog that runs up and down the road, and that's what gets her every time. So she weans 1 litter, and she's pregnant with another litter.
I'll have you send me a text, and I'll get back with you after I get off this meeting and see if we can help you get it resolved.
I hope so. All right, then nothing. How many old vehicles are you allowed to have that don't run?
If to consider junk vehicles, you can have as many as they have to be running. I mean, they have to have a title. Either a title or they have to be running. You just can't have, and I could get you that information too, but you can't have a bunch of junk vehicles sitting around your property. No, we've cleaned up, we've worked with people that cleaned up probably 200 since I've been judged, almost 200 sites in the county. And now there is some different laws and rules and regulations depending on what the zoning is, the classification is, and what the use is, and commercial activity. There's a lot of things that goes to it. It's something we can't just go in and demand because people do have rights, and so.
Yeah.
You text me that your number, and when I get off here, I'm gonna have somebody, either me or somebody, will call you back. And I think you can have up to 6 dogs on your property, I believe.
Oh, well, he got that many outside without running in the barn. And he's got like 3 on his front porch.
Yeah, so, but I think the ordinance says you can have up to 6, and because we didn't write that, we probably need to go back and I don't know. Some people, I've got 2, and some people say you shouldn't have any. Some people say we should have 2. Some people should have many as you want. So I mean, it's not an easy policy to write. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah. I can understand 2, maybe 4, but not as many as he's got.
But you can't have a breeding and boarding business unless you go through the proper channels and buying and selling animals and make sure because of the reasons you just told me right now. So, okay, I will get back with you, ma'am.
Thank you for calling. And I was going to say that one time there was a application for some entity to have a breeding boarding facility.
There is things in place, and but it can get out of hand quick. I mean, hell, you wouldn't. You've heard me complain. I guess the phone calls I get about people not taking care of their animals and their dogs, and it's been probably I told you before. My number one headache since I've been county judge is basically dogs and people not taking care of their dogs, and we got about close to $400,000 in the budget, maybe $300 to $400 that we have to take care of that. Animal control, working with the Humane Society, and it's because people don't take care of their animals, and the taxpayers, our money has to go in and provide that, and it's I just don't like it, but so I understand both sides because I've been in the middle of both sides. I've got 2 dogs. If you live in a rural area, if you live on a farm, there's just a lot of ifs and ands, but people need to take care of their own animals. That's just a fact.
And you can almost hear it in this lady and in others. It's not that they're against animals. It's just security or safety, thinking that animals are animals. that they
and you got the fear in people's mind, and when you got I don't like it when they come chasing me when I'm campaigning.
Yeah.
God damn, I've had them come after me too, and I don't care much about that. But a little kid or somebody's children.
But we hear too many.
And if they get hurt or killed or maimed, and then so that's I don't have much sympathy for that. I mean, people need to take care of their animals. That's the bottom line.
And I mean, the person is liable for their animals, and
how you going to prove it if it's their animal?
Yeah, well, that's true.
I joked with the guy the other day because you farm, and I farmed all my life, and different people and farmers, and we was joking. Somebody's cow got out, the car hit it. Call the insurance. It ain't my cow.
Mm-hmm.
Is it your cow? That ain't my cow. So if you don't have a brand on it, how you going to prove whose cow it is, or a horse, or whatever? I mean, and it is. I'm joking about it a little bit, but that is a fact.
Oh, I mean, that's one of the classic jokes of all time is about a dog biting a person. So.
And the deer, I mean, all these deer accidents, and the insurance companies just. I mean, you know how it is in this county. My goodness, I mean, you see on the road every day.
On a serious note, cow, horse, deer. We have a program still in Nelson County to pick up the carcasses.
Yeah. They call the landfill number, and we've got a truck goes out and picks up, and definitely,
Yeah, and not every county has that.
No, I don't know. A lot of counties don't have it, and ours has worked pretty good, and
Get a little assistance.
We've adjusted it a little more. I had. I think the Extension Office and Soil Conservation and the Farm Bureau, and then through the state, we get some grant monies to offset that program. Now, the taxpayers are still paying some of it, but we've got several grants and got a little more since I've been here and increased it better. So,
Judge,
it really helps out.
The bypass is open with the caveat of the intersection at 245 being at a different place for now. I saw somebody mention something about wonder when the first person will hear some kind of concrete abutment. I'm not sure where it would.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we've got that part going. And
well, it's open, like I say, from you go Templin both ways down to the bypass, and then going south toward Boston Road, and it's all open and it looks good, and they got some dressing up to do
right.
as far as the shoulders and ditches and grass and all that, and then all that'll be completed this spring and get vegetation and all that. But the people that's pulling out on Boston Road from the bypass going left, that's what they're talking about, because you're not the only one that said it. I've heard it multiple times. And there is a concrete, like a curb sort of right down the middle of the road there, and it forces you to go left. And I'm concerned about it. I've had a lot of people talk about it, especially at night, because there's not a street light out there. And I think I told you this before, that I'm working on making sure we get street lights up and down all those different intersections. And
is this thing got any reflector lights or reflectors on it? Or
there's some signs when you pull out there. You'll see some signs across the road where you won't run all the way through it.
Yeah.
But trying to figure out, because you can't go across that concrete barrier, and it's once you do it, you'll know it. But if you take somebody that don't know the road or whatever, you got to be careful there, and especially when it's not lit up. But we're working on. I sent to Mayor Heaton a letter to sign. Him and I signed. We sent it to the state, and working with their engineers. And I think I may have told you this, to put the lights up, because they have to be on state right away, and then we'll take over the maintenance of the lights once we get them up. The city and county's going to take some, we're going to take some, and there's another one county road out there that we missed that we're going to try to get that in there too, and then it'll just, but it'll be probably more towards spring before they get these lights up, and it is, at night it gets dark earlier, and then it's kind of dangerous. Then go to the 245 side, we said it several times, and they had a report that I think, still don't know if it's stamped and sealed, but they're going to put a roundabout out there. I'd say it's going to be more midsummer before they get it finished.
But they can continue to do dirt work and getting ready to.
I'd say they're going to be pretty close to, that's a pretty good sized roundabout there, and they'll have to go across the other side of 245 to get it. I don't think you'll see much activity till spring.
Okay.
I just don't see it, because eventually they'll have to shut 245 down and run them through Templin, coming up there where there used to be where the campground is, and come through. You're talking about traffic now. It's going to be some traffic there, but that's part of progress, and it'll be good when we get it all completed and the state gets it completed, and that's
other projects that you've talked about during recent shows, the Nelson County Fairgrounds, the exposition building, and any movement in the last week on that? Or?
Well, we've had. I'm down to the kind of the last, when I say preliminary stuff that we've done. I met with some grant writers already, and on the federal side, and I'm meeting with another group probably, I think it's either end of this week or next week, and I got the plans laid out pretty good, what it's going to do and what it costs, and that's just another great project. I mean, we got the, what we call the exposition center. It's a convention center, and they have a lot of shows and a lot of stuff for the locals, and rodeos and horse shows and big flea markets, and it will be a big deal if we get it finalized now. It's got the 4-H, and it's just unlimited. And I'll get a report out probably soon and let everybody know where we're at on it, and then it'll come down to the funding mechanism, and once we get this thing going further and get more people on board, and but it just takes a lot of money. But I've got a couple other projects I'm working on to actually help with the funding side of it, and we definitely don't want to extend, like I said before. So that I'm working on that project. That's never ending, and I got so many projects going on. And then another big one I was telling you about, the industries. I got another one I'm working on similar, tied to that, and then I'm working on the matter of fact, I talked to my engineers this morning about Dean Watts Park expansion, and baseball and softball, t-ball, and improvements to the soccer, and so there's a lot going on out there. But I feel pretty confident that these two big projects, if I get the third one done to help with the funding side of it, it can really happen, and that'd be great for the community. So,
at the park, when you talk about changes, it does not include expansion of the park, does it?
Well,
just more utilization of it.
Well, it actually can do both.
Okay.
Yes, it can be expanded, and it is going to be expanded also, but using the existing, what we've got that's not used yet. It's going to be the first phase of it. Right. But yeah, there's definitely could be an expansion. Okay. So that'll get us, and if we can get this done, that'll get us in good shape for the next, 25 years or 30 years. What I keep telling all my people is everything we need to do is plan for, a 30-year plan, and as people come in and take our roles away, and then you got to have good things in place, and it's just a great community for people to come in and raise their families, and we just got to have the activities and things for them and keep them busy, and the kids, and we got all these different drug programs they work with at schools and things. We got some more coming up too, so just a lot of good things going on. I think Brad Metcalfe came in. Brad, you out there? Yeah, you need to come in and talk about anything else you got, Ross, before we get into the emergency stuff on the list. You asked me a lot of questions today.
Yeah, no, I think I don't have the check marks on them, but I think we got them all. Athletic complex was the last one.
Yeah, but so that's when I got Brad. Let's get our sponsors on there one more time first.
The sponsors are of Around the County, Bardstown Mills, and Area 1 Realty. We'll be back with more right after this message. We're back with Around the County, the show each Tuesday right here on WBRT, brought to you by Bardstown Mills and Area 1 Realty. You just heard from those fine sponsors that make this all possible. Brad Metcalfe is in here. I'm sorry, I don't know how long you were up front.
No, that's fine.
I was facing the way.
Yeah, I've seen him come in and he was taking a nap, and I had to wake him up. So Brad Metcalfe is here. He's the EMA director and also deputy judge, and his plate's full, running over all the time, and doing a good job with everything. Of course, this year's been hell for everybody with always flooding too, so trying to deal with FEMA, which is kind of almost a dirty word in my vocabulary, but it's been a lot of meetings, so I've let them pretty much handle it. So you got anything else, Brad, you can elaborate on what's going on, or winter weather coming, and emergency services?
There's always a lot going on in the emergency services world. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is or what's going on. There's usually always a lot going on for us, particularly this time of the year, as we're going to start seeing the temperatures go down. They're really talking about single-digit temperatures, I guess Thursday or Friday. And it's just time to take stock that it's going into the winter season, and there's a lot of checklists, that you should be going through. Some of the things that we look at is, always just make sure and check on your elderly or disabled, neighbors. Make sure that they're able to get out. Make sure that they have everything that they need to keep themselves warm and fed as those lifelines that they depend on. To bring them, necessities. Sometimes when the weather gets bad, they aren't able to make it there. So you want to make sure that they have at least a few days so that they can get through. Another big thing is having a kit that you keep in your car. My daughter's 17, and I've tried to make sure that she, thinks about those kind of things. Number one, make sure that somebody knows where you're going in the wintertime, so that if you don't show up within a reasonable time, they know to look for you. And then the other thing is just keep some basics like jumper cables, flashlight, a blanket, some extra warm clothes, even things like an extra jacket in case you have to get out and walk. And one thing that we always stress with that is if you're going to put a jacket in and get out on the side of the road, if you have a flat tire, your car quits in the cold, make sure that it has something reflective on it, because the jacket, because the worst thing we see are people that are wearing, and we're guilty of it as well. We wear black pants, black shirts, but we always try to wear something reflective, because at night it's just, especially with snow on, it's just very hard to see anything. Even things like, an extra phone charger in case your car quits and you're waiting for a wrecker to get there and you're on, your last few percent. Make sure you have something that's going to charge up your phone in case that your car's dead.
And keep that charged.
And keep that charged as well.
Speaking from experience.
Well, one thing my dad always told me was keep cat litter, in your car, for traction. It's just
I never done that.
It's just something
I don't want no cats getting in my vehicle.
But just little things like that, and you see these kits that people sell, but we always stress to make the kit, fit your abilities. If you can work on a car, then make sure you have extra tools. But there's no sense in buying a big toolkit if you don't have the ability or the knowledge to work on a car. Sometimes that can get you into more trouble than it is to wait for a professional to come fix it for you. Of course, we always stress, getting everybody to go onto our website at NelsonCountyEMA.com and signing up for Smart 911. That helps keep you notified if there's any severe weather. Any kind of warnings that are going on, whether it's in the winter or through the summer. That's your best way of finding out. We always try to keep our social media updated, if not daily, at least every few days of weather-related events or things going on, so that people have multiple ways to find out about what's going on with the weather.
Brad, when you talked about the temperatures maybe being pretty low this weekend, I'm always one of the many probably that says, are we going to open warming shelter? I think that's the term.
We do that when it's an extended period like that, more than just a couple of days, where they're talking about these single digits. You're talking about, deep into the middle of the night, but usually by daybreak we're getting back up into the 30s. Right. It's when we have those really long extended periods, or if we have extended power outages. Or snow to the level that people can't get out of their houses, we try to open it up then. it creates a scheduling nightmare with the Civic Center the way that we have it set up right now. We're trying to look for alternatives to the Civic Center for using it as a warming shelter and as a storm shelter, because it's just not rated for those kind of things. No. And the last thing we want to do is put someone in a building that's not meant, to handle a severe weather event.
Yep.
So, we've the other thing is to check on pipes. Make sure that you've taken your hoses off the spigots. Make sure your spigots are covered. If you have houses that have uncovered piping underneath, make sure you get pipe tape or something that's going to keep that warm. And the worst thing, as bad as it's one of our worst things, is when you start to bring heaters indoors. Especially kerosene heaters. Make sure that you have proper ventilation. It's very easy for a kerosene heater to use up all the oxygen in the room very quickly. So make sure you have proper ventilation. Make sure it's not setting too close to flammable items, and always using generators inside is a no-no. So
now, do the kerosene heaters create carbon monoxide, or is it just the gas-powered?
It's more the gas-fired generate more carbon monoxide, but what a kerosene heater will tend to do the fire uses the oxygen, and it'll suck the oxygen out of the room. A lot of people will seal up their rooms so tight to try to keep the cold out that they actually create a vapor barrier that they'll exhaust all the oxygen. It's just one of those things. You just need to just use common sense. Put it out in the middle of a room. Try to put it out at night if you can, and rely on electric heaters through the evening. It's just most of them have anti-tip over technology, so if they do get tipped over, they're not going to spill. But you just never know. If a dog runs by and knocks off something and it lands on top, it's going to create a fire. So, those are just some of the main things. As far as projects that we have going on, we've completed the 2 leases for our new radio towers in the south and southeastern part of the county. We're building one in Holy Cross and then one also in Howardstown. That should drastically help our radio communications in the southern end of the county. And we have a couple more that are planned. We have some dead spots in the Boston area and out past the hospital, out to 245, out toward Bernheim. So those are, it takes a lot of money, to build and equip these radio towers. We're talking hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And that's what, a lot of people ask us, well, what's that 911 fee going toward? Well, it goes toward the funding of our center, our dispatch center, but it also goes to funding things like radio towers and building out those communications so that our first responders are able to stay in communication at all times.
The equipment, the 10.8 system we're putting in, I know what we paid for that.
Our new dispatching system, everything.
And the tires and everything, what is it? The time we did the tires, what, 800,000?
About 800,000 just this year, and we're not finished.
And the 10.8 system, and then you got all that. Anytime you got this high-tech equipment, you have to get licenses for everybody, and it's an ongoing cost, and then it gets so outdated so quick. And we estimated in the emergency services side of it over the next probably 2 to 3, 4 years, it's up. We're going to need about $2 million. Maybe more than that.
I'd say $2 million is conservative.
Probably $3 million in upgrades to keep up with providing all this stuff for the community. And I was talking to some dispatch people today about it, and the average person don't realize when you think a dispatcher sitting there and just taking a call. They've got records they got to keep for all the departments. They got to put them in and work with the staff. It's a lot. It's just a lot more than even what I would even fathom, to be honest about it. So there's a lot to do.
Well, just to see the reports that we get sent, and all it does is just says this department got this dispatch. It overwhelms me that a couple of guys here can read through it. But
the detailed report that we put out every month. You talking about?
This is like a call log.
Okay, yeah.
And you see all the different departments that are being communicating directly through.
Well, one of the things is, we're around 50,000 people in this county, but because of our tourism and because of the distilleries and because of the history of this area, we have so many transient people and when I say transient, I mean tourists that are moving through our area, that in the summer, we balloon up to 60, 70,000 people. So our infrastructure has to be able to handle that kind of volume with people. And, it's just something that people have grown accustomed to, and we want to provide a service that we know, is as top notch as we can get.
Well, somebody just texted me a while ago and asked me about, can you get some of these animal control dog ordinances cleaned up and updated and whatever? And then, so now my thought process, like I said earlier, is truthfully, is the county's paying it'll be close to $2 million this coming year and next year, subsidizing EMS and the Animal Control Center. Almost $2 million a year if you put the number to it. And, we provide that for all the cities too. And the city has their taxpayers that we represent them all, but most of the runs that we get and the complaints is in actually the city of Bardstown. And with us losing this $2 million a year in bourbon barrel tax, starting in a few years going south, it's going to have to be a discussion that we're going to have with all the cities, because, the county, just a limit, we just don't have the resources to continue that. It gets to be where it's, you're not going to be able to do it. It's unsustainable. And so.
Well, everybody thinks that the county has this replenishing source of revenue, and that source of revenue seems to be, diminishing every year. They make it much harder for us to do the operations that we're required to do, with a lot of unfunded mandates that come down from the state and federal government that we're required to do, but yet they provide no funding for.
And ambulance, and there's bills in Frankfort and, of course, Washington. We talked about it before. You can bill somebody for, $10,000 run. It may not matter what you're billing for. It's what the insurance is going to pay you, and Medicaid and Medicare. And it's usually about 30, 40 cents on the dollar that we get.
If that.
And what's an ambulance cost now?
$330,000.
So the cost is, and we got everything in good shape. I feel like our equipment, and we made a lot of good strides moving things forward. But it's getting to be, we're going to flatline when we get some of these things caught up now. Then we got to try to start creating a cushion, a little bit better cushion for the next few years, because this bourbon tax, it's. I hope it grows in the next 6, 7, 8 years, just because of the inventory. But you just don't ever know what that market's going to do. We know it's going to go south.
Right. It's phase out.
And you got to plan.
20 years or 15?
20.
20.
Actually, in 26, this coming year, it starts going down 4%, and it's on a calculated scale, but 4% this coming year. Now, with our inventory and the cost of the barrels and all that, our income still should probably be close to where we were at, or maybe a little more for the next few years. But I tell you, you look at it and figure it out. We just got, I ain't gonna say what I can say, but publicly challenged on one of the barrel taxes. We got a letter yesterday, and it's a constant battle that you got to fight.
You mentioned earlier today the Senate leadership was in town last week. Mm-hmm. Anybody bring that up to them? The bourbon tax, or is it's a done deal?
Well, I tell you what we did. We were asking for some revenue, and I didn't want to put any more scars on that because the bill has already been passed. Now, I thought if I brought that up, there might be some bad blood. Yeah. So I did not bring that up. And so...
Well, I think the Senate members are very aware of the fact that that because of what that bill has done to our communities, especially communities that have any distilleries, I think that does put us in a better position to ask for funds as compared to other counties, because this has been done to us. And it's similar to the Eastern Kentucky counties with the loss of coal revenue. It's almost the same thing. So we're pushing for that the same way. People think that it's just, we get to a certain point and we've caught up, or, we've had a lot of repairs and new equipment that we've had to buy over these last 2 to 3 years, and it gets us to a certain level. But by the time you get to that level, you're already trying to save and work toward the next, because you have that next round of equipment that's rolling on.
It's just like the landfill. I can hit on it a little bit, and I'm working on some stuff with the landfill out there, and we've got our own landfill, and we bring in Marion County. Of course, the city of Bardstown, everybody in our county has to bring their garbage to our landfill, right? And we've got contracts with what we call these private, like, the cities or whatever, because they have their own garbage service. Bloomfield has their own garbage service, but they still have to bring their garbage to our landfill. We did take over the New Haven garbage. We actually pick it up and work that deal out. And when I got elected as a magistrate in '94, when we had Marion, Nelson, Marion, and Washington counties bringing their garbage here, and then so we went through that cycle, and somewhere around, I don't know, when I got out of the magistrate business in 2010, at some point somewhere they lost Washington County. I don't know what happened, but I got them back last year, or 2 years ago. And that brings in about $660,000 worth of cash flow revenue to the landfill. And if you look at it, and I've studied this damn thing in the spreadsheet with the cost of equipment. Now, they bought a new roller compactor about 8 or 9 years ago. The previous court, it was like $800,000, rounding it off. That same compactor today is $1.3 million, and you got to have two of them. You got to have one as a backup, and then you got to have your dozers. And I mean, anybody that's in construction or keeps up with this equipment, it's basically doubled. They talk about inflation, 20%, but most of this equipment is doubled when it comes to emergency equipment and all that. And if you go to the bigger size compactor, what we really should be using, $1.8 million. Now, and the bottom line is, we're not going to be able to maintain our equipment needs there with the revenue coming in from the county and the two other counties, because you can't expand. All that money has to go back in the landfill. And there's not going to be enough money actually come in to maintain your equipment needs. If you put it on a spreadsheet, I can just show you. So that's something we're going to have to look at hard. I mean, you can't just keep going out and raise rates and be competitive with your surrounding communities and landfills either. So it's all about a volume thing. To be honest about it, everything we talk about, a lot of this stuff is about volume. And anybody that's farmed, or like I did, I always talk about the cows and the hogs and the. If you make a nickel for everyone and then down to 4 cents, you got to have a whole lot more. I raised the back and all that. It's all about numbers. When it comes to numbers, and that's what you got to figure.
We're out of time. But I got one last question, because something kicked up. What do we do? What can we do when landfill is a portion or is done, is capped? I think they use the term capped or finished. Is there any? Yeah,
there's things you can do. Oh yeah, there's more. I had an email come in today about it, and there's different methane gas things you can put in, and then you could cut crops off of it, hay, and mainly hay. You can't go out or you can pasture it too. You go down to the coal mine and see what they do.
You can't build a house on it.
No, you couldn't build a house on it, but industry-wise, there's some things that you may be able to do. It depends on the depth of your rock and the soil. I mean, there's all kind of but there's a lot of things you can do, and that's why you got these liners now, and then you got these leachate ponds, and you got to cover so much, topsoil, and it's pretty complicated. But ours is running pretty good. But the cash flow side of it is going to be unsustainable within just next short year or two. And I got to work on that project, which I have been. So it's an ongoing battle, I'm telling you, to keep it up. But that's what they hired me for, so I've got another day or two left.
And probably a few more battles than that, too. Judge, thank you very much. Judge Tim Hutchins around the county here each Tuesday at 11 on WBRT, made possible by Area 1 Realty and by Bardstown Mills. Brad Metcalfe, thank you for coming in. And we will see you guys next week. And that reminder is the food distribution 17th.
Feeding America, 17th,
On the 17th.
Yeah.
Stick around, folks. News is coming up.
Thank you, Ro.
As the weather turns cooler, it's time to get ready for winter. Bardstown Mills is ready to help. The shelves are full of muck, rocky, and lacrosse boots to keep your feet warm and dry. If you have never worn alpaca socks, this is your wake-up call to try them. Alpaca socks keep your feet at the perfect temperature, no matter what the weather is outside. With Christmas just around the corner, Bardstown Mills has unique farm toys that are tough and kids love. Pets are not left out either, with aisles of toys and treats for your fur babes. Come on down to Bardstown Mills and let us help you get winter and holiday ready.
Sometimes love can sure get lost in the daytime, and working late long hours, you're only a picture in my mind. But when we're finally alone in each other's arms, our love is found, and only lovers know what goes on when the sun goes down. What goes on?
WBRT Bardstown, 1320 AM, W246 AT Bardstown, 97.1 FM, and now W235 DB Lebanon, 94.9 FM, Lebanon.